Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of the iGaming show presented by Paramount Commerce. I'm your host, Varad Mehta, and in this podcast, we explore gaming industry trends with experts from various gaming organizations. And in today's podcast, we will talk about the evolution of online gaming in Canada with Paul Burns, the president of the Canadian Gaming Association. So without further ado, let's get the show rolling. I'd like to begin by congratulating you on being inducted into the Sports Betting Hall of Fame at SBC North America. I mean, for a Canadian to be recognized in America, you're in the ranks of maybe Drake, Celine Dion, all your popular
I wouldn't
Canadians.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's nice to be recognized. The work to change the legislation in Canada unfortunately took a long time. It's nice to be recognized by the Hall of Fame. Obviously, good and bad governments play a big role in the gaming industry, and so I happen to, I guess, have the perseverance and had the support of many across various sectors to who every time I came calling saying we're going to try this again, they're like, well, okay. I don't know if I was close to the definition of insanity and doing, repeating the same thing over and over again, getting the same result, but we finally got it done, and it's great. And we're just starting to see the benefits now, starting to flow benefits for the consumer, for the gaming operators. So it's going to be very good. Exciting times for the industry, and I'm thrilled. It's great to see this happen.
No, definitely. I think to be included in a Hall of Fame, it means that you've done a lot of work. Hall of Fame is for the best of the best, right? So, it's truly a privilege to be speaking to you. Speaking of that, sort of connecting that with you, could you maybe go into how you got associated with the online gaming industry? Like, what's your background? Maybe a little bit of history about Paul Burns.
Well, my background goes back to involved in politics as a political staff and advisor to ministers in the Ontario government. And I got handed a file back in 1996, I think early 97, to the Ontario government was looking at expanding gaming. And so I got the opportunity to work on those files and liked the industry. I met a lot of great people back then, people then that I'm still friends with today. And obviously it was the first kind of growth and expansion of the casino sector in Ontario at that point in time, and watching the gaming industry grow across the Canada. So, I got into it. I really enjoyed the people. I enjoyed the work. I got to do some interesting things. We as an association came together in 2006, really with a number of operators, casino operators at the time, and suppliers, really saying no one is defending our industry. No one's speaking up for what we are. We're no more. There's more dimensions here to the gaming industry than just making money for government. Great careers, there's great industry, there's great technology companies. And that was back in 2006. So when you go back to that and you look at now where technology has taken us, the rise of internet gaming, because in its nascent days back in the early 2000s, it was something to watch and something we'd always said, hey, government's got to regulate this. And that's been our position as an industry association, is regulated gaming is good, and you need to regulate online gaming because it's coming and it's going to be big. Sure enough, it has been.
Definitely. And I think that's such a great way to give like an overview of how CGA came along back in like 2006 and how it's evolved to now. It's crazy to think that, conversations about online gaming were happening back then, or what the potential future was. So that's kind of interesting. One thing that I think really brought a lot of attention to Canada was Bill C-218. Could you maybe break down why that was a really significant bill? Because it really brought it into the mainstream. A lot of, media outlets covered it. It sort of kickstarted basically what is now, a lot of regulations being passed, hopefully across more provinces.
It had other, the safe and regulated Sports Betting Act had a number of numbers attached to it over the years. because it was, I think C18 was the fourth iteration of the bill, and what it was timing seemed to have worked. The inevitability of sports betting in the 2011, 12, 13 period, when the first bill went through the House of Commons, uh, sports betting was, oh yeah, we've had legal sports betting in Canada for decades because we had parlay wagering. You just couldn't bet on the outcome of a single event. So you got over the hump of trying to tell people that this isn't brand new. This is, I would often use the phrase, it was like selling beer. We've had six packs, now we want to sell 12s. Can we, it's the same product. We just want to package it differently. And it was surprising because a lot of people, it's surprising how many folks I came across who were betting online during that period of time too. But it was, and not realizing that, hey, by the way, it's not regulated in Canada. It's, but the timing, and because of the pandemic, because of the impact on the land-based side of our business, because of the growth again in online, combined with the United States has had 3+ years of sports wagering, watching the inevitability of the growth. And really the last group that came to the table that took away the last remaining stakeholder that was opposed were professional sports teams. Over some of the strongest supporters of changing and creating a regulated sports betting marketplace in Canada actually came from the amateur athletic community, from Canada Soccer, from Canadian Olympic Committee, the Canadian Centre for Ethics in Sport, because they recognize it's a protecting athletes, that integrity of sport was important. And we had communities, and we had labor and business groups saying yes. The Chamber of Commerce in Canada, Unifor Union, the cities of Windsor and Niagara Falls repeatedly passed motions. It was really a great coalition that the gaming industry stood part of, and we were one part of it. But there were so many others that wanted access. And then, so the timing, I think, was being able to get a piece of legislation back into the House of Commons, and thanks to Kevin Waugh as the MP from Saskatoon, MPs draw lots to see what order they get to introduce private members' bills. At the beginning of every parliament, they all draw numbers, and he drew a very high number. And fortunately, he had an interest, and so a convergence of coincidences brought us together. And he was a fantastic champion in the House to get it done. And it was just great timing of coincidence and the earliness of Kevin having the opportunity.
No, definitely. Because I'm just gonna take us a little bit back. Because I noticed after the passing of that bill, still, like, provinces technically hadn't opened up to, like, international merchants who could move into maybe Ontario, let's say. But province ran sports books were sort of like open for business for single event sports betting. So during that, I don't know if it's a year, but like those few months, did you see like a lot of changes happening quickly? Because as you said, these 12 or 14 months have been really eventful. So what did you notice started, or what were some significant things you noticed as soon as that bill passed?
Well, obviously, I think what we saw was, I think, a heightened interest in the product. And people going, oh, there's something new here. And obviously, you said provincial lottery corporations, some enhanced the products they already had, especially BCLC has had a quite robust sports platform for many years, and Alberta launched theirs, Ontario launched theirs. And I think that so people started to see new products, and they understood what this meant. And well, people probably didn't know what C218 was, or the fact, but what they saw is, hey, something's changed, and I've got some new opportunities and new products.
Why is Ontario so like important? Because it seems like it was the first one to act as soon as things were started, like started kickstarting regarding online gaming. So what makes Ontario like an important market, an iGaming market, maybe in Canada or maybe overall in North America?
Well, Canada has always kind of punched above its weight in some respects in terms of adopting to online gaming. One, we've never had any barriers. So that's the simple one right out of the gate. There's been never any barriers. We don't the US has the Wire Act to deal with. They had federal laws that were more harsher. We just have why it's called gray is simply it's where does the bet occur? Is the legal question that's never been solved? Is it in
Mhm.
it's sitting in my home in Toronto uh, on my device, or is it if I'm betting through an offshore operator, is it the server in the UK or Isle of Man or somewhere like that? And the law was never settled, and so no one ever wanted to find out the question.
Mhm.
I think because everybody's afraid the answer may not go their way. Um, the lost battle of um, trying to think of ways to without wanting to change laws or wanting to challenge the initial interpretation of the criminal code. It was a losing battle for everybody to face. And in reality, the solution's always been in front of them. And it's what Ontario chose: create a regulated marketplace. And if you want, Ontario's chosen really a path to ensure that they can, invite as much of the gray market as wants to come in, making it easy for them um, to do. Because understand the iGaming world matured all over the place, everywhere else but here.
Mhm.
um, there's 20 years of regulatory experience in some jurisdictions, but there wasn't in Canada, and so you were like kind of last man in. And the AGCO and the government of Ontario respected that and went out and talked to the operators and said, okay, what are the best practices out there? What is the best model? What can we do? And they did that, and that's why they got a model that's I think been very it's fair. It's been attractive to operators to join and say, I'm going to be part of the regulated marketplace. And so there's, when you look at the volume, the number of those already in the market, the applications, I'm hearing we're going to be 50 plus operators potentially in a year in Ontario or less than a year. That speaks to the success of the interest of the model. And open license models are not they're not available in North America anywhere else. And
Mhm.
so it gives everybody a foothold. And so, I think that's the Ontario government listened, and they brought a lot of the best practices to bear, and not wanting to, because the alternative is you make it uninviting, you spend a lot of time enforcing,
Mhm.
and you spend a lot of time trying to keep people out. And that, we've known the internet's a powerful force, and it's hard to keep it out.
It is.
It's been a disruptor to many industries and many jurisdictions, and gaming's no different. And
Definitely. And I think many prominent names like FanDuel and like BetMGM, these names have already expanded into Ontario. For those who might be considering moving into Ontario or Canada, um, what is your maybe elevator pitch for them, or what advice do you have for international gaming merchants who want to move into Canada? Because it seems like even with just one province going live with their iGaming market, there is so much talk about Canada. I haven't heard much about America right now as I have about Canada. So, or maybe I don't know because we are in Canada, but it just seems like there's a lot of focus on Canada. So, what advice do you have, or what would you pitch to people or merchants who want to move into Canada?
well, I think one, you've got a knowledgeable customer base, which I think is good. And two, if you're going to put a footprint down in the country, you've got a tremendous opportunity. There's great um, depth of talent available here on any facet of your business is here. There's a very competitive tax climate. There are incentives for digital development work, and getting rebates on wages. Our tax and immigration policies are fair in terms of being able to move into the country and establish a business. It doesn't take. It's not very complicated to, with little assistance, to be able to incorporate yourself, get a bank account, and get going. And some countries, it can take months and months and months. It doesn't do that here, and it doesn't matter where you locate. And I think that there's lots of great attributes, and now with a regulatory regime in Ontario is a starting point. That's by all accounts everybody seems is fair and reasonable, and that it's become very attractive and a foothold in North America, because as noted, there's only 3 or 4 jurisdictions in North America that have full online gaming. One of those is Ontario. 3 of those are in the United States. We've got it's in its early days. There's huge growth in the Americas, heading all the way down to Brazil, which will soon hopefully pass their sports betting legislation and get active in the marketplace for the people of Brazil. I think it's you want to come here. It's a great launching pad, and you've got a diverse customer base in Ontario. We have immigration is the backbone of Canada in terms of helping us grow, and the diverse population, and just from betting products from rugby to cricket to curling to soccer, football. I mean, there's a demand for all these products. That diversity is great, and I think that you can test your products in a pretty diverse market.
Mm-hmm. And I think you used a really interesting term, which sort of brings me to my last question. You used the term launchpad. What do you see, Canada's online gaming future to be? Is it more provinces following what Ontario did? Do you see, innovations, more merchants moving in? What is the future of Canada?
Well, I think that the other provinces in Canada will take a serious look at what Ontario has done with their market and how they've chosen to regulate it. Will anybody replicate it the same? I don't know. What I hope they do is engage the industry the way Ontario did. That they talk about what's best for their jurisdiction. Talk to the gaming industry. Talk to all your stakeholders. Because that's what Ontario did, and they're still having those conversations as we go forward, and that's important. And they need to enact on the things they talk about, but that has to happen, because then they'll find out what will work best, what's fair for everybody, what creates that level playing field for your current industry that's in your jurisdiction and new entrants.
Oh, definitely. And I think all the excitement, and as I compared you to maybe the likes of Drake or some popular Canadian figure, there's just so much happening right now. And as you say, that whether it's consumer protection, businesses thriving, Canada is so strong that way, and things should remain and grow in Canada. So I think just to know all these things from you is such a pleasure. And I really want to thank you for your time. I know it must be a crazy busy time for you. So thank you so much, Paul. And it's been a privilege speaking to you. Thank you.
Thank you, and to everybody at Paramount. As great CGA members that you've been, and supporting the association and the industry in Canada, we're grateful for all the work that you guys have been doing. And so it's great to chat, and I appreciate you having me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Take care.
From a single event sports betting bill being introduced a decade ago to Ontario going live with this regulated iGaming market, Canada's online gaming industry has evolved significantly. I want to thank Paul Burns, the president of the Canadian Gaming Association, for joining us today and providing his expertise. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions for Paul or us, do comment them down below. I would also like to mention that the Paramount Commerce team will be exhibiting at Sigma Americas, which is coming to Canada for the very first time. If you want to know more about expanding into Canada and how our team can help your iGaming business, please visit us at booth G1 at the Enercare Center in Toronto on June 7th and June 8th. Also, our team is hosting the Gaming Social Networking event of the season, so to register, please reach out to our team by visiting ParamountCommerce.com. Thank you for tuning into the iGaming show presented by Paramount Commerce. I'm your host, Varad Mehta, and until next time, keep gaming.